Good day, guys. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be mixing an Afrobeat from scratch, and I'm going to be explaining every single thing I'm doing while I'm doing it so you understand. And I'm also going to be getting help from my new Afrofusion pack because I have some presets there, mixing presets there that are going to help make this simpler. Okay, let's take a listen first. Alright, so I think this parts are like heavy, so I'll still render them before adding effect. So I made this beat on live. You can check it out. You can check out my late night series. I come online, or at least I intend to come online by 12 every night and make an Afrobeat, from scratch, no loops, nothing. So you can check it out. So let's get to mixing. So the first thing I want to do with this is to route everything to the mixer, right? To route, so I'm just going to pick them one by one. So I've routed everything. So what I'm going to do now is create buses, right? If you watch my previous video, you know I like to mix with buses because it's just much easier that way, and I'll explain. So first off, I have this pre-master. Most times I don't end up using it, but it's useful where it's useful, and if it's useful in this video, I'll show you. I'm just going to go into my new pack, and then I'm going to the mixing presets. So melody bus right here, melody reverb right here. So the reverb is going to go into the melody bus, and I'll take it down a bit. So then I'll have the sub bus. So this will go into pre-master. The melody bus is also going into the pre-master. Like just take, all this is not so complicated, but just take notes. The sub bus is going into the pre-master. The reverb for the melody is going into the melody bus into the pre-master again. So so then we have the drum bus, drum room. This is just some reverb on the drums, so this will go into the drum bus, then the drum bus will go into the pre-master. Alright, so now what I want to do is route everything melody into the melody bus, route the drums into their rightful place, and then route the bass too. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold Control and Shift and then select everything melody. Everything melodic here, Rhodes, mallets, pad, kalimba, music box, sax, right? Then I'm going to press route to this track only. then route to this track, right? So I want this to be lower. Right. So and I don't know if you guys noticed, but it seems like a lot of the sound is lost. It's not sounding clear. Well, that's not because it's not clear, and that's like a mixing mistake beginners tend to make. Is like because everything is loud. Like if you look here to this part of the master, you can see that it's clearly passing 0. Yeah. So FL has this default thing where if it passes 0, the sound above 0 is not played. It's all I don't know, clipped or saturated or something, but it doesn't play. So what you're going to be hearing is the other frequencies below that. So some of them are going to be lost. So a mistake beginners used to make, and I made so much when I just started, was when I'm making the beat and it's nice and everything, I'm like, I can't really hear this. I wouldn't know that that's the problem. I can't really hear this. The kick is not, then I'll go and turn it up even more. You know, it's not sounding because it's too loud and it's distorted. I'll now go and make it even louder, and I'll be wondering what's wrong. That's mixing mistake number 1. Okay, I haven't routed anything to this yet. So for here, I'm going to name this big. These are the drums, and then this one small. Right. So this big one into the drum bus and into the drum room. I'll route it from the master. Then sidechain to this small. Right. We'll get to that. Then this small also into the drum bus and into the drum room. Right. So this one has radiator on it. It's really not necessary, but it just sort of removes some of the extra low end. But I don't really use it all the time. It's mostly in trap. I use it anyway. So we don't need it in this one. So so the big drums now, what I consider the big drums are the main rims and the kick, which this beat doesn't even really have. It only has the main rims, hat. It doesn't have anything too much going on. So I'm going to take the kick and the rims and route them into big, route to this track only. Then I'm going to take the hat, hand drum, bongo, and route into small, route to this track only. Right. So let me give this one the color too. I know this looks like a whole long and hectic process. Trust me, I am just OCD, so I like I like my shit color coded. Let me easily understand what I'm doing. But this whole routing that I'm doing makes the whole mixing process so much simpler, and you understand why in a bit. So this is the FX. So I'll just later route FX to that pre-master. Right. So okay, this bass, we're going to the sub bus. Oh yeah, and the big drums will also sidechain to the sub bus. I'll get to that too. So bass tension, I don't really know what this stands. I think I'll just put it here because it's not really bass. And then this log drum, I don't know where it stands to. I'll just put it here. But I'll also sidechain the log drums to the bass. We'll get to that. So yeah. So now so what we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do is leveling. And leveling is like simple. It's like simply just putting everything at the right volume. As long as you follow this rule, I'll put it on the screen. As long as you follow this rule, the low end being the loudest thing, followed by the main clap, snare, rim, you know, this Afrobeat, so rim. As long as you follow that and you put them at the right volume, you should have a clean mix. You're already off to a great start. So what I'm going to do is go, okay, the beat is mainly energetic all through, but let me come here. And then I'm going to select everything and turn them down. Right? Then I'm going to come to the kick and turn it up. So I'm going to turn this kick up until it's around 3. Since this is Afrobeats, it's anywhere between 3 to 6 is fine. But with trap, it has to be at least 3, somewhere between 3 to under 0. So yeah, so this is fine. Then I'm going to go to the rim. You have to be careful because a lot of times we layer rims. So you want, for the rim, you want it to be the joint volume of 2 of them, right? It's going to be, as I said, it's going to be the next loudest thing. So this is somewhere under 3. Okay, just on 3. So you want the joint volumes of the rim to be somewhere just under 3. The joint volumes, not each one. So let's do that. So let me see. As you can see, that's like much louder. So we want to turn them down. Right, so now that's fine. Then the hat. For the hat, you don't really have any volume. It should be per se. It should just be loud enough that it's heard and it's not overshadowing the rim or the kick. That's all. Right, so then we're going to want to drag in the bass too. Since this is Afro, the bass doesn't have to be that loud, so I think somewhere here is fine. Right, so as you can see, I'm also panning, panning, because you don't want every single thing to be playing at the middle. There's not going to be space for like the vocals, everything is not going to sound and punch through. I might not even really add a lot of effects on a lot of them because the sounds are nice, so it's mostly just leveling I'm going to be doing. Right, so let's go to the melodies. For the melodies, generally, I mean, there's always different beats, different scenarios, but for the melodies generally, the volumes don't pass 12 generally. Sometimes it does, most times it doesn't. So good melodies mixed well, everything is going to be below 12 and below. You can have some as low as 30 and it's still going to be pronounced. How's this thing handy? Okay, so just give me a second. I'm going to render some things because apparently using a lot of RAM, probably because I'm screen recording. So just give me a second. Alright, so hopefully it's no longer hanging. I just rendered the pad and the roots and I routed them back into the mixer. So let's continue what we're doing. Oh, still hanging. Still hanging. What do I want to do to this guy? Right, so I'm panning as I'm going to. I don't know why it's hanging, but please just bear with me. So I'm panning as I'm going to. As I've said before, panning is just make sure everything is head, everything is not playing in the same spot. So there's a little bit of space, you know. There's a whole stereo, so you can really put things left, right, you know. The only rule is anything bass, like kicks, raise bass, 808, they should not be, you shouldn't pan them at all. They should always be in mono, but every other thing you can experiment. Oh yeah, and the main kick, the main rim, sorry, for the most part, you always want it to be in the middle too. So I want to move to where the log drums are. So I want to boost it. I don't know why the log drums are always so quiet. Right, so I wanted to have some grittiness to it, so I'm going to add fruity fast distortion to this log drum. Let me mute something so I can focus on. Damn it. have the leveling done. This sounds very good. It sounds very good. So we're going to move to the melody bus. As you can see, I'll be this melody high pass. So this is just so that anytime the bass is playing, right? Anytime the bass is playing, we automate this so it opens up. So it's all cuts off the high end on the melodies and the bass is more pronounced, so that the low end from the melody is not clashing with the it's not clashing with the bass, you know. Of course, we could just put this on and then leave it on throughout, but there's some times where the low end in the melody is sweet, especially like in the intro where there's no bass or anything like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to automate this throughout the whole I'm going to automate this in the playlist. So right click, create automation, click. Okay, so I'm just going to be looking for where the bass is playing. So this is on, you know, up here is 100%, down here is 0. So this is off, this is on. So so I'm just going to look at everywhere that the bass is playing. Right. Let me set this to that. So right click here, hold, right click. So the bass comes in here, goes out again, comes in here, goes out again. Oh, wait, sorry, I think I made a mistake. Sorry, I'm putting it on. Sorry, yeah, it should be on where the bass is. The bass is here, so it should be on there, off here, on here. So then the bass is present until this part is verse. So now every time okay, let's just test it out. Right, so that's just simply this at work right here. So now I just want to make some things. Yeah, I want to continue panning definitely, and I want to make some things more pronounced, like this tension and the sax. I don't really like the sound enough, so okay. So for this tension, so that it punches through a bit, I want to add some, yeah, I'll add some yeah, exactly. Right, so I like that. I just added that this destructor to just give it a little bit of like power, grittiness, so that it punches through, so that it's head, you know. Because we have a bass playing at some point, we have a bass and log drum playing and this playing too. So just so that it punches through and it doesn't get lost in the mix. That's why I added that. Then let's move on to the sax. Right, so I like this, I like this. Let's move on to where the log drums are. Let me just see that it's punching through enough. So I never explained what this limiter is, right? This is just sidechain. It's a simple thing called sidechain. So I sidechain the big drums, right? That's the kick and the this thing, and I also sidechain the log drums. So when the log drum is playing, this becomes quieter. That's what it's for. So for this here, you always want the attack to be low as possible, as low as possible. Then the release, you calculate the release. Then the release is just simply, the formula is just the BPM times 4, sorry, 60,000 divided by the BPM divided by 4. That's what it is, or divided by the BPM times 4. So that's what it is. So what that is 60,000 divided by 99 times 4. Right, so let me just do that real quick. $60,000 divided by 99 divided by 4. So that's 151. So this is going to be 151. So if you do that, you're going to have a clean release time. So yeah, this is how to mix Afrobeats. This is how to get a clean sound every time. Now, if you compare this to the previous one, this sounds a lot more clearer, right? So so what I'm just going to do is route all of this. I route all of this to the FX chain, and then we're going to take a listen. Oh yeah, and I forgot to do this, but the small drums, we routed we sidechained the big drums to the small drums earlier. So we're also going to do the sidechain thing, but here the ratio should be as small as 2, and we don't want it to do too much. So right, so that way it just punches through, the big drums punch through a little bit more.